Hi, my name is Alyssa Chambers. I'm going to talk to you about astrology while I do my makeup because that's two of my favorite things. Today we are going to talk about how to learn, how to look up your chart. Now, if you feel like you are one of those people who's like, I don't believe in astrology because I don't think I act anything like my sign, what you're probably referring to is your sun sign. So the sign that everybody knows of themselves typically is the sign where the sun was at when they were born. But there's all the other planets and the moon, there's asteroids, comets, and what have you. Each person has the 9 planets and also the asteroids and all of that, which we can get into in the future. But each planet is a different thing about ourselves. For instance, Mercury is how we speak and think. So even though you are a certain sign, say a Libra, you may speak a little bit more decisive, or you know what you're going to say, compared to most Libras who can't make up their mind like everyone says, because your Mercury is in a different sign. When you were born, whatever sign was closer to Mercury and affected you in that way. So you could be a Libra and have a Scorpio Mercury, and that's going to make you say things differently than if you had a Libra Mercury. See where I'm going? So, everybody has a whole birth chart, and your birth chart is how and why you do different things. So, what I need you to do is look up your chart. That's the most important first step, is looking up your chart. So, I like to use astro.com personally. So if you go online and you type in astro.com, it'll take you to the website. I think it's called Astro Dynast. I might be saying that wrong. And then you go to the top bar, and you click on the option horoscopes. Then you go through and you scroll down, and there should be an option that says natal chart ascendant. So you want to fill out the information that it comes up with. This little questionnaire is going to ask you where, when, and what day, all of that, of when you were born. Now, it's asking you where you were born, not your hometown or where you lived growing up. Where, when you were born, the specific longitude and latitude, so that way it can figure out where all the planets were specifically, because there's different times going on all over the world. So even though I was born on whatever day, somebody could have been born somewhere else in the world at a different time, but it was the same day, and therefore we would have the similar chart. Like, we could have the same exact chart even though the time zones are different, because that's where the planets were for them. Now, the most important thing that you need to know about yourself is what time you were born. Call your mom, look it up. You can even go to the hospital if you really need to and get your information. I think you have to do it in person, at least that's what I was told. But it is very important that you know your specific time, because that can completely change your chart. The moon changes every 3 days, one day being a solid day of that sign for the moon. It switches the next day, continues on. So if you have the wrong time, you could have the wrong moon, and that is very important about yourself, is what your moon is. So there is no cutting corners. There's no guesswork. You have to actually know what time you were born. It can affect everything, specifically your moon and also your ascendant, which is very important too. We'll get more into that later. So you're going to call your mom and you're going to plug in all this information into the website. And the website is going to come up with this very scary looking pie chart. The pie chart is you. The pie chart describes with degrees and symbols who you are as a person. And if you have the time, which is very important, why you do these things. Eventually, you'll be able to get to the point where you can look at somebody's chart and you'll already know things about them right off the bat. Now, here's where things get tricky. Although things are a certain way and are supposed to be taught and learned a certain way, I have found that a lot of things come up to me through intuition. I just have become able to recognize certain things in people's charts that relate and how it affects other people that I know, and it helps me to read their chart and learn more about them. Eventually, you'll get to a point where you'll be able to look at someone's chart and know stuff about them that they don't even realize about themselves. But we're going to start small. So, first, just get familiar with your chart. Make sure everything's correct, including the time. Take a little time to get familiar with the symbols that are on your chart. I'm going to post them for each video. So each planet has its own little symbol. Each sign has its own little symbol. Take the time if you can to learn those symbols. It just makes life easier. Once you're familiar with the symbols, I think you're going to be shocked looking at your chart and you're going to be like, Scorpio, Mercury. I hate Scorpios, but my Mercury's in Scorpio. And for those of you who don't believe in astrology, I'm looking at you, Capricorn. I think you're going to be surprised. And if you see something in your chart that you're not really liking about yourself, the more that you learn about it, just know that it's just a roadmap. You can change things. You can make choices. The chart is just a guide of you when you were born and your life. And if you notice things about yourself, like I know in my chart, I know now things that I do, like that I'm snippy about things or whatever. And it helps me to recognize that I'm doing those things to become a better person. What I'm trying to say is don't be too hard on yourself, because this is just how we start out and there's always room for improvement. I think that what really helped me learn the most was learning the elements. So each planet and each sign is ruled by an element and they're ruled by each other. Aries is ruled by Mars, the god of war, and they are both fire signs. So if you can get all your friends' charts, your boyfriend's charts, your girlfriend's charts, your mom and dad's charts, and start to use their charts to help you learn. You can learn a lot about a sign basing it off of people that you know, but you want to know the elements and all of that first. So if somebody is heavy fire, notice how they act. Passionately, strongly, they feel very strongly about things. Somebody who is water is very emotional, typically. Somebody who is earth is typically very organized. They can seem cold, but usually it's because they're just very calculated. They're thinking about what's happening next and what's happening after that and what's happening after that. And sometimes air signs can be the same way because they're so caught up in their head. Earth is just what you think it is. Stability, money, organization, thinking things through really well. Air signs are typically a lot of communication. They like to talk. They don't necessarily go somewhere good with it all the time. Water signs are emotion. They feel things very deeply, but if a water sign is lacking any air, they might not want to communicate about it, especially if they have a lot of earth in their chart. So that's how things change. So one of your friends could be a Libra, and they're talk about their feelings, and come to find out when you look at their chart is mostly air. But you have another friend who's Libra. They don't like to talk about anything at all, and come to find out that their chart contains a lot of Virgo, because Virgo is very close to Libra. It's a super common thing to happen. So they might clam up. They might keep it all in. They might not want you to know anything at all. They might want to be a mystery. It's all about the chart. That goes with your friends' conflicts as well. If they're arguing with someone, one of your other friends, their significant other, things like that, and you may come to find out that somebody has a Libra chart and a lot of air, and they want to talk a lot about their problems, and the other person has a fire chart, and when they talk, they speak very passionately, and it can be taken as aggressive, but really that's just how they would want to be spoken to. And that's what's kind of cool, because you can learn a lot, and I think that it kind of helps people to learn other people's love languages. And if you're not familiar with that, there are 5 love languages, and everybody gives and receives different ones. So somebody who, maybe a Leo, enjoys gifts and enjoys to give gifts, and they give a gift to somebody, they might take that as an insult because they're an earth sign who thinks that they should be able to take care of themselves. Or maybe they're an earth sign who thinks, I do deserve this gift. And so they're compatible or they're not. So it helps to know people, relationships, friends, stuff like that, how to get along better. So yeah, this is just the beginning. So if you get your chart, you can learn a lot about yourself and your friends and stuff like that. And I'm going to continue to do my makeup, and each video will be me doing my makeup and me talking about a different part of astrology that you can learn. Next, I think the best choice would be to do the planets. So I think I'm going to do the planets. Maybe I'll do it as one whole big video if I can, because I don't think breaking down the individual planets is going to be beneficial right now. So yeah, thanks for watching, and if you like this video, subscribe, like it, all that fun stuff. Yeah, get your chart, call your mom, ask her what time you were born, get your boyfriend to ask his mom what time he was born. We can compare. Thanks for watching.